वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य मणिस्थ श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Om. May my speech be firmly established in my mind. May the mind too be firmly established in my speech. O self-effulgent Lord, be revealed in my consciousness. May I see everywhere your glory. May the truths of the scriptures come to me. May not what I learn from them ever forsake me. Let me live my life day and night according to their teachings. I shall speak what is appropriate. I shall speak the truth. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om. Peace. 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 Let us feel ourselves as a statue of salt. And we are taking a dip in the ocean of bliss. Scorched by the misery and disappointments in this world. I am looking for this ocean of bliss, drawn by its tremendous attraction. I am jumping in it. I am being dissolved. But actually I am becoming bliss. All desires are gone. all scorching is gone. There is this most beautiful, tremendously blissful, all-embracing ocean of existence. Dissolved are time, space and causation. All is peace. All is bliss. Absolute. Om. Peace, peace, peace. For this summer we have been taking the dips, one dip a week, in this stream of divine love.
It's hard to hear you.
Hard to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. One must learn to do some hard things, you know. Yeah. Okay. So today is the last dip of this summer in this stream of the love of God. And let us begin with our usual prayers. Om Asatu Ma Sadgamaya Tamasu Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Mam Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead me from the unreal to the real, from darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, from the limited existence that is mortality to the immortality, the unlimited infinite existence. Om, peace, peace, peace. So this picture shows the tomb of Hafiz in Siraj, in what is now in Afghanistan. At that time it was in Iran. So or it may still be, the boundaries are kind of shifting. So it is his tomb. This is the 14th century Hafiz, the great poet of love, a Sufi mystic who brings to us a religion of pure love for God. It is not to be practiced. Many times the religions preached, propagated in the world are religions of fear. If you don't do this, then the God is going to punish you. That is not the religion that is preached by Sufis or Upanishads. It is religion of love. So God is love, and also you don't need to practice it out of any sense of, I belong to this tradition, so I must do it, or because of the feeling of guilt. It is something that happens on its own, because as human beings we seek love. There is no going away from this fact that as human beings we seek love. So religion is a way to discover the true source of love, where our love will get embraced, and we will get dissolved in this divine love. So this divine love is attracting us from all directions, and the other attractions in the world, they are illusory manifestations of the same real attraction. It is, for example, somebody who is ignorant sees the picture of a candy on the TV and thinks that that's real candy and goes towards the screen. Now we'll never get candy because it is an illusory picture there. There is only the picture of candy, not real. So similarly our attractions in the world are of that type. So the real source of that attraction is God, and it meets the fulfillment there. This poem that we are taking up, this is in the Wilberforce Stark's this collection, his translation, number 261. But the title is not given by him. The Tale of Torture. It is a torture to live in this world, but there is a meaningful torture. Torture of the tremendous attraction of God. The devotee feels that torture because of this separation from God. That is a characteristic of love. Even the aphorisms on love by Narada mention this characteristic, that tad vismarane paramavyakulata. By that sense of separation, slightest separation becomes very, very painful and torturous. You keep on remembering that God. If you read the similar poetry, the poetry by Saint John of Cross, or in India you find the poetry of Mirabai, it is like that. The feeling of separation is full of torture. What is to be done? There is, I am looking for it, and the whole life gets consumed by that tremendous longing, and that feeling is full of torture. Of a different kind in the world, running after various things, we feel a torture. That is a torture of this world which does not take us anywhere. It is an unending torture. But this torture, although intense torture, it ends in ultimate union. There is a bliss also associated with this kind of torture. So, and that is just a automatic thing, as I mentioned, by being human, by the sword of inclination of thine. It is made by the God. This slaughter of this shattered one decreed. This shattered one, I am going to be slaughtered. It is, what is this slaughter? The ego has to go. There is no way that we can cling on to the ego and still feel the inner divinity. We cannot manifest the inner divinity unless there is this love of God and killing of the ego with that. So it is this shattered one decreed, it was not. The slaughter was just decreed, it was not by some human intentions. It is by the inclination of the sword of the God. You did not do it. It was not by your idea that it has happened. If not by the glance of the sorcery of thine, a fault, it was not. It was not a fault of you or anybody. This is how things are. One gets this attraction in this world, and so it is just as the things have been made, that there is. It is not a matter to be debated. You can keep on asking for logical explanations, but whether you get such an explanation or not, the fact remains. It is, that is to be felt, that is to be seen, that it is there. So, and it is nobody's fault that, O Lord, the luster, how hath thy beauty's mirror, wherein to my sigh the power of impression was not. It was not your luster of this, your beauty. It is a mirror, if the mirror is lustrous, when you see your face in the mirror, your face has the light, and then it gets reflected on the mirror and you see the face. But if the mirror is throwing light on you, then how can you see anything there? Your face does not cast any impression on that. Lord's beauty is so tremendous. Its luster is so tremendous that it is, you cannot do any change in it by your impression. Your impression does not make anything. Your face, your cries, your whatever you do does not make any impression on that. So, wherein to my sigh the power of impression was not. O true beloved, when I distraught release the stress. So it is giving up. Stress means the hair of God, means the proximity of God, as it were, was given up. And now what happened? For me, distraught, more fit than the chain fetter aught was not. There is no other fetter. This is the style of this poetry, is not. So there is no chain that is binding me more strongly or more fiercely than this, because I separated myself from God, your presence. Now what am I fit for? This bondage. This bondage is because of the abstraction of God from our life. That is what is called bondage. God is freedom, God is love, God is bliss. And then if we separate from God, what we are actually separating from? We are separating from freedom, we are separating from bliss, separating from love. And thus, what can there be? The bondage. Try to feel this, that everything that we see, that we are bound in this world because we separated ourselves from God. So why, how, some moment it happened. Again, there is no logical explanation for that. It happened. What Vedanta at times calls as Maya. That there is a separate entityship that one feels, and then that is bondage. And that is the result of slipping from our true nature. In biblical stories also you read this, that the man slipped from his real nature, as it were, divine nature, and thus now is bound. Till then there was no good or bad for that fellow. When you slip from that your true pure nature, the purity is gone, as it were, and then all I, you, my likes, dislikes, wants, and then you see there is that very significant idea there, the sense of shame, as it were. That before that there was no sense of shame, but when they ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge, now there came the sense of shame. It is thus, you see, you get bound. It is in the sward of grass, more graceful than thy stature, aught grew not. On this lawn, the garden of God, there is nothing that in the sward of grace, your grace more graceful than thy stature, nothing was there. Your stature is the most attractive, most sought after thing in this garden. In the world of picture, more pleasant than by thy picture, aught was not. There was all the other pictures, but your picture is the most beautiful picture. That is how most, in the sense that it is the source of all beauty. Other things, they appear beautiful, but because the God's beauty gets reflected in them, God alone is beautiful. So wherever we feel the presence of God or love, God is love. See the psychology. Whatever we love, we feel that is the beautiful thing. Yeah, and when we don't feel love, that very thing ceases to be beautiful for us. When we don't feel love means we don't feel God there. So God being the source of beauty and beauty connected with love, there is nothing more beautiful in this world than God. So that perchance like the morning breeze I may reach thy tress. It is well, so I spent, or that maybe with the breeze I may reach thy tress, thy position again. I keep on waiting for that. Last night, my prophet, save night weeping, aught was not. Well, I kept on weeping, weeping. That was my lot last night, feeling that by chance the breeze, what is meant by breeze is just by chance I may reach God again. That was not to happen last night. What was my lot? Just shedding tears, weeping. My prophet, save night weeping. There was nothing that was there except weeping. That was the what I got. So, through astonishment at the door of the wine house, at the door of the wine house, the world of love and divine knowledge, I put off my head, put out of my head. It is this imagery is very common there, that the door that of the world of divine and knowledge and love, that is this wine house, where what this wine signifies here is, again we have seen this many times, that this is not the what goes by an alcoholic beverage, but what is the common aspect of that is that it makes you forget this world around you. You transcend it, as it were, not spiritually, but when you drink, have some spiritual spirit taken in, then you lose the sense of presence, as it were, sense of where you are. That is why it is mandated that you should not drink and drive, because then you will not be in control of your faculties. There could be some worse addictions, but what spirits and such things, some such things do is that you lose the sense of that the reality around you, and so you may be immediately transported to some la la land, and where the red traffic you may see as a red flower, that's it, and so you are not fit for driving. So why this is called wine is that what you see otherwise as real, when you think of God really, this starts becoming unreal for you. That is how it, as a spiritual aspirant progresses, this starts happening, that the world around seems to be unreal. This is a first stage of spiritual awakening. In the early stages of, you start practicing, but at the common person's spiritual practice is that this world is real, And God, well, people speak about it. I believe in God, but that is, I don't know how real or unreal what it is. God doesn't appear to be real. World appears to be real, and then God is somebody who makes this world uh, pleasant for us, makes us win lottery or makes the lawsuit come go our way, things become more pleasant and so forth. So God is not real, but world is real. Then at little awakening, then the world starts, fades away. God appears to be real, world appears to be just a mere shadow. It is not real. So this is a very important milestone in the spiritual life, that the concerns of the world take back seat. You see, therefore, and I have seen it in so many people's lives, friends. I am not talking just about monks. Many householder devotees I saw, the worldly concerns become or they lose their prominence. The devotional practices become important. That have to go on well. Whether I make money or lose money in this earlier worldly life, that is more important. You sacrifice your spiritual practice for some worldly things. Because worldly things are more important. My household, my relations, my money, my physical health, all those things, they take precedence over the devotional practices. Because naturally, whatever is more important for you, you will go for that. It is otherwise we don't do. Our love for God is at a very low stage. It is the love for the world and the fears of the world. That world is real. God, well, what is there? So that is why many say that, oh, what is there, reading the books, God is everywhere, I know, and then whether I remember God or I don't remember God, God is after all there, and the same criterion is not applied to the worldly things. Oh, but what about money? Money is not real, isn't it? Oh, well, but that is something that I want. So all the mental machinations, they automatically move in that direction. So it is, but one starts feeling the presence of God, and one starts therefore crying for that. That is what is called divine dissatisfaction. It is, Sri Ramakrishna would call it as divine dissatisfaction. It is that dissatisfaction is great. You cry for not being able to meet God. Sri Ramakrishna said, if somebody cries for God, then, well, in a short while, in some references, he said that 3 days if somebody cries, or at once, if one day if somebody cries, whatever it may be, that quantitative measurement is not the idea there. The intensity of the pang of separation, that is what is meant there. That if one is separated from money, a lot of crying keeps on happening. Or some so-called near and dear in our life, when you get separated from them, there is so much of cry about it. It is so. It is like this, that through astonishment at the door of the wine house, that is the world of love and divine knowledge, I put out of my head, when in the cloister appear a recognizer of thee was none. But I did not see anybody there who could recognize you. There is a peer, means a saintly person, in Muslim tradition is called peer. So there was nobody there that I could see who could recognize your presence there. So they would speak about you, but they would not be able to tell me exactly how you look, because that is indescribable something. It cannot be adequately described. So the saints also cannot, they make attempt, but they cannot truly portray your picture. O fire of separation, from thee that I endured that, a candle-like. It is, that is how this fire I endured. You are burning because of that separation from you. It is like that. Save self-destruction by thy hand, a plan for me was none. It is, the lovers of God are unanimous in this, that it is not, I will not remain. That is the result of the love for God. You become one with God. God alone remains. You get dissolved in the ocean of God. I met God. That is a folly. It is impossible to happen, just like a salt doll jumping in the ocean. Cannot come and tell how deep the ocean is. So exactly like that, meeting God is annihilation, complete annihilation of ego. So it is Hafiz grief without thee was a mark of torture, of which to anyone need of explanation was not. This torture, there is no explanation for it, no consolation for it. It is obvious to everybody. Nobody needs to be told about or give reason about. Hafiz torture continues. So this is the torture inflicted upon a devotee. Terrible at times it is. Things that one is attached to get taken away. There is this familiar story that I had told a few times, that it is the Krishna and Arjuna were walking somewhere in a forest path, and then they walked for the day and then they needed to take rest. So in a nearby town they found a rich man living there. So they knocked on that door and the rich man welcomed them, and then they stayed one night there. The rich man arranged for their proper stay and gave them food and so forth, but didn't show much love or anything towards them. Next morning they left while saying goodbye. Krishna blessed that gentleman, that owner of that house, that may your wealth grow. Arjuna thought that yes, after all, God should be blessing others. Although he didn't show much devotion to us, devotion to God, still God will bless. So he didn't wonder at that kind of blessing. But then something very surprising awaited him next night. They stayed at a very poor person's hut, and he didn't have, but he had devotion to welcome them with so much of love, so much of sincerity behind it. He had nothing there to eat, he had just one cow. So he fetched milk from that cow and gave them to drink. And then that night passed like that. Next morning they again started on their way, and Krishna blessed this man also. But the blessing was very different. May your cow die. That was, and then Arjuna could not now hold on to it. What is this, Lord? Well, that is how I torture those who are devotees. It is because I saw that he has true devotion. The first fellow, he had devotion to wealth. So I said, let your wealth increase. But this man, he had love for me, but only a little attachment was there for the cow. And so I took away that attachment also by blessing him that may your cow die. It is. So that is how the devotee goes through this torture, it is not a sign of lack of progress, but it is the sign of really progressing in spiritual life, feeling the close association of God, always thinking of God, and oh, when shall I meet God? So it is like every moment, if somebody is there, there is a meeting with somebody whom you are looking forward to meet very much, and then the time was decided at 10 o'clock, then you wait from 9:30. Oh, maybe if he or she comes early, I should not make that person wait. So you are there from 9:30. It keeps on. It is almost 10 o'clock. The person hasn't come. The anxiety and the suffering due to that keeps on increasing now by leaps and bounds with every passing minute. Oh, it is 5 minutes past 10. What has happened? Was that person got held up somewhere? Some mishap happened? What is it? Keep on. That very torturous feeling sets in. Now what is happening there? A constant remembrance of that person is happening. So in that pang of separation, there is this constant remembrance of God. Why my beloved is not coming to me? The next poem is also about this feeling of the separation from God, but in a very different way. Yesterday, the peer, the wine seller, whose mention be for good, said, drink wine, and from recollection take the heart's grief. That it is, drink this wine means feel the presence of God, forget this world, and now you will take out all the grief that it is, that is, you are feeling in this world. Drink this wine of the divine presence, and it will go away. This is what a peer, a saintly person, told. I said, to the wind wine giveth my name and fame. It is gone. What happens if I drink wine? My fame, name, my prestige in the world, it will be gone to the wind. It is gone. What will people speak of me? That here is a drunkard. All my reputation will be gone. So I am not going to do that. We are clinging out to common person is very conscious of the so-called good name. That it is no, what people will think of me, they will spit on my face, all my prestige will be gone, and so forth. So if I drink, if I become devotee, intoxicated with devotion, look what happened to all such people. Think of Sri Ramakrishna, that people, mostly 99% people could not understand him. They criticized him. All his reputation was gone. Even his close relatives, they were not seeing what he did as a very good thing. That Hriday, his attendant, very loving person, loving in the sense he served Sri Ramakrishna with great love in those days. But he also couldn't understand, he also thought that my uncle had gone mad. So insane. So that is my all name, fame will just go to winds if I accept your advice. And we have this fear. When we get the advice of a saint that, oh, this world is ephemeral, not real, it is just a show, give it up. We say but then what will happen to all my relations? What will they think of me? See, examine where our mind is. We don't care what God thinks about us, but what my spouse thinks about me, what my children think about me, what the society thinks about me, what my parents will think about me, what colleagues will think about me. That is very high in our estimation. What God thinks about you, we don't care about it as much, because God is not real. This world is real. What my spouse is going to say about me, that is real. And not that they say very good things anyway, but still, still we are concerned about it. It is, one lady had come here, no, don't let others know that I come here because they will start bad mouthing me. I said, are you sure they don't otherwise bad mouth you? There are several other reasons for bad mouthing you too. Why only think about it? So it is, he said, accept the word, be whatever be. Yes, that is how, let it go, let it. This is the divine bliss, the truth. Now for that all this name, fame goes away. Let it go. Again there is that great poem of Mirabai, that what happened when I have practiced devotion, Then lokalaja khoi, that it is all the idea of prestige in the world. She was in a in a royal family. She was the daughter-in-law in a royal family and needed to behave in certain, keeping in mind certain norms. But because of the tremendous attraction for Lord Krishna, everything was just thrown to winds. And so naturally people started saying bad things about her. Doesn't become a royal family lady. The story goes that even her husband, just to save the family prestige, tried to murder her. Yeah, so it's all, you have to take it, You have to take it. You have to show the courage to take it. That this is going to happen. It is, when you take to the path of God, don't think that there will be people praising you. It will, because they praise you if you are earning lot of money and if you are so-called successful in the worldly sense. Yeah, it is, one lady was telling that, well, what can I do? It is when if I come here, people around me don't understand at all. What is this? This Vedanta society. And you are going to go and stay there for some time. What is there? Oh, you are going to Providence, good city, go to water fire and all. Vedantas? You don't waste your time. So they consider that it is, the fellow is fool. And then if still you do, they start looking at with making funny faces. That's all to be accepted. That is how it is. You are then in a saintly company that people despise you. It is very good that it is one conversation I remember that there was the discussion on some work, that it is to be done like this, it is to be done like this, what will happen. And the manager said that this would be the right course, I think. One another of the person there said, I disagree with you. Then it is more likely that I am correct. So, because you disagree with me, it is right. So, when the worldly people criticize you, you should actually think that yes, your path seems to be right. Because they are going in different paths. So, they have to disagree with you if you are going on the path towards God. They are not going to agree with you. One gentleman, a clergy, was after Vivekananda and after the Parliament of Religions, and he would pester Vivekananda that, oh, you are a good man, become Christian, otherwise you will go to hell. Everywhere he would go and follow Vivekananda and say, hey, please, I pity on you. What? You are such a good man. Unless you become Christian, you will end up in hell. So Vivekananda got, to shake this fellow off, asked him, where would you go, sir? I will go in heaven. Then I am better in hell, you see. If you are going to be in heaven, then I will be better off there in hell. So, one must accept that after all, what can be there in following the path of those who are bound. Many times some devotees who come here ask me, that, well, what should I do? And so if I give them some suggestions, they say, but that friend of mine, uh, who is a very well-known lawyer, that friend of mine was telling this. I said, okay, if you follow that person's advice, you will become like that person. You are walking in the footsteps of that person, you will become like that person. Do you want that? No. Then why do you go to listen to that person? You will become a person steeped in world like that. So don't try that. It is we have to see the consequences. If I am following a worldly person, what will be the consequence? I will become worldly too. So it is not the I don't like to follow, but I am following a worldly person. Doesn't matter what you like, what you don't like. Even when you don't like, you boarded a plane to go to Florida. You will end up in Florida. That is the flight you took, you see. So it is not the question of what you like. It is one has to be very careful about these things. So, for this matter, neither noyous nor joyous. Noyous is opposite of joyous, It is a very old archaic English this thing usage, and this translation is in the archaic English. It is, for this matter, neither noyous nor joyous be, means don't neither seek nor avoid. Whatever comes, that's it. It is that is a famous statement of Vivekananda in Thousand Island Parks, those lessons, they inspire talks. He says, neither seek nor avoid. What is there? It is not worth throwing away nor worth accepting. Throwing is too much of an effort. He gave a very funny, humorous story there, that a mosquito was sitting on the horn of a big bull. And then after a while, the mosquito's conscience started pricking it and said to the bull, oh, I am sorry, I was bothering you too much for a long time. Here I am flying away. Now what the bull has to do, whether the mosquito sits on the horn or flies away. This world is like that mosquito. Whether it comes, it doesn't add anything to us. Whether it vanishes, it does not hurt us in the least. Let us remember this, friends, that it is in thy hand is only wind if thou place thy heart on any perishing thing. A perishing thing, your hands will be just empty, they will come and go. Nothing remains with you. That is the worldly things. This is a matter that we can all experience. In a meeting place, the world, where where to the wind even the Suleiman's throne goeth, neither is the rose without the thorn, and nor also the honey without poison. In another translation, instead of poison, they have used the word without bee sting. So there is the bee sting and the honey. The world is a mixture of, say, a little joy, a little has sorrow, and so forth. So you won't get happiness here. Deliberation is what? The world's way, chance, like this. Don't keep on cogitating why this happened. That is the hobby, idle mind's hobby, to keep on thinking, why this happened? Isn't it, Charlie? Why did God put this sorrow here? Why did it happen? So that is an idle fellow's hobby. Keep on thinking about these questions which have no answers, because the questions themselves are illogical. So how can you expect any logical answer to them? So ever make the cup full of wine with the ear of sense, hear the tale of Jamshid and K. Kubat. They were the big kings there. They all, their kingdom was gone. Big, thought to be the eternal rulers. What happens? Nothing remains. In the desire that my heart may attain that is within my heart, my soul blesseth love's grief for him. That love's grief, that is the path that constant remembrance goes on because of that grief. So it is. So Hafiz, if thine be vexation on account of the counsel of the sages, let us make short the tale, saying, long life be thine. If you don't like the advice of the sages, well, what the sages are not going to keep on pestering. Okay, goodbye. Long life be thine, life of misery, life of suffering. In Kenopanishad, that the god of death said that I will give you a long life. And Nachiketa says, Abhidhyayan varnarati pramodan atidirghe jivite korameta. Looking at this transitory nature of these so-called pleasures in this world, who is the fool who would be happy with a long life? There is no meaning to long life. It is like long life means what? What will you prefer, Yona? 1 year of imprisonment or 10 years of imprisonment? 1 year, isn't it? Long life means long time of imprisonment. That's all. If we do not listen to the words of the sages, that is our fate. Okay, long live, what can be done? Goodbye. So sages say goodbye. So we also say here, this our 8th class summer study of Hafiz poetry. We just discussed very few poems. About 15 poems were discussed out of 1,000 plus poems actually. There is a 600 plus poems collection. There are some other poems in other collections. So, but still, whatever little we got, it is whether we drink 1 teaspoonful or a bucketful, the taste is the same. So let us feel that sense of divine love, and let us conclude with our regular prayers. These classes never attracted any questions. Naturally, there is nothing to question here. So we will conclude this class with our concluding prayers. One more thing I want to tell about the Krishna Festival. It is, you are all invited to attend the Krishna Festival on coming Sunday. It is from 11 to 3, but the doors will open at 10:45 and close at 11:15. and only those who are vaccinated and those they can come with face mask during that time, come with face mask and come within that time if you are vaccinated. Of course, some children who are not eligible for vaccine, they also can come with face mask on. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahura Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.